Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss books and horror. And today I bring you my TBR pile for the month of May.
It's coffee time.
So for my TBR piles every month, I have decided that I will put together a TBR that it's not too overwhelming, hopefully, like around 6 to 8 books. And then if I have time, I can always add something or exchange something. I feel like for me, what works best every month is to have a set TBR pile so that I don't have to think always about what to read next. That does help me to, motivate myself and keep reading. But also sometimes it's good to allow myself space for adding books, because sometimes I'm just in the mood for something really specific one day, or maybe I just got a new release in the mail and I'm just dying to get to that. So I'm allowing myself to make a couple of changes, but I do love a set TBR pile to start with. So here are the books that I plan on reading in May. I will be joining again this month the YA book club that is hosted by Amy McCall. The book that they picked this month is a YA mystery thriller called Good Girls Die First by Catherine Foxfield, and I really enjoyed Tag You're Dead by the same author, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. So 10 teenagers have been lured into a carnival. They all received a letter and they were blackmailed with one of their secrets that they obviously want to stay buried. So they decide to go to the carnival, the 10 of them, and who will survive the night? That sounds absolutely fantastic to me. I'm hoping for a great murder, thriller, mystery. Who is after these 10 girls? Who wants to reveal their secrets? What are those secrets? There's just so many questions and I need answers. The next one is another YA horror thriller, and actually I just saw this the other day when I went to the bookstore. I had not been in the bookstore for a while and I decided to go and check it out, and the cover just drew my attention, and it was a horror YA, so I was like, I might as well just try it. And it is Dead Flip by Sarah Farisan, and I mean, this cover, excuse me, 80s vibe, yes please. It's also said to be a book for fans of Stranger Things, so yes please, thank you very much. It takes place in the 90s. I'm just dying to dive into it. The story follows 3 friends that were always besties because they were bonding with their love for Halloween, horror, arcade games, all of that good stuff. But now is a little bit later, we're in 1992, and one of the friends, Sam, is missing and the other 2 are not in speaking terms, so I'm already hooked and I need to know what's happening. Apparently, eventually Sam returns. The thing is, she's still 12 and her friends are 17 now. So what happened to Sam? Where did she go? I don't know. It just sounds interesting. I love the setting in the 90s. I love Discover arcade games, the love for Halloween and horror. I'm just really excited, and I'm just praying it's not gonna disappoint, because it's one of those books that you see the cover and you're like, oh my god, I love it. Then you read the synopsis and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna love it. And then you're scared to actually read it in case you're not gonna love it as you thought you would at the store when you were buying it. So that's kind of the feeling that I have. So I'm really like hoping that I'm gonna love this one. Next, I'm gonna be picking up a thriller that I've been putting off, and it is time, and that is Echo. It is by Thomas Oldhavald. I totally butchered that, but it is a Dutch author. He wrote Hex, which is one of my favorite witch books, just because it was just so creepy and it was just on point. If you have never read Hex and you love witches and urban legends, you really must read that one. So this is his thriller, winter thriller, and it is about travel journalists that go into this mountain, and while they are investigating things there, something happens and they get lost. One of them ends up at the hospital and he says he has no memory of what happened, and the other one, the other journalist, is still missing. So I'm hoping for a lot of dark secrets. I'm hoping to figure out what happened to them in that mountain trip. And I'm just hoping that it's gonna be as good as Hex was, even though this one doesn't have like witches in it, but I'm sure it's gonna be dark. And now a book that has been on my TBR pile for way too long, for years to be exact. And that is The Dead House by Dawn Kurtajic. And I just really need to read this because I've always wanted to read it. I think also because it's a bit chunky. I've always been a little bit scared of diving into it, but it has mixed media and I just really need to read it because it has amazing reviews, and like I said, it's been on my TBR for so long. I finally need to get to it. 25 years ago, a high school burned down. So some people sadly died during the fire and one of them went missing. Now, I think years later, 25 years in the future, a diary has been found between the ruins, and that is what we're going to explore in this book. I think this includes police records, medical reports, all of the good stuff, mixed media, and I am a sucker for that. So I should have read this book ages ago because that is completely my thing. I love mixed media in books. So I'm really excited to finally dive into this one. The next book I'm gonna be picking up in May is Lockwood & Co. Book 2, The Whispering Skull. The reason being, I want to finish book 2 so I can watch the first season on Netflix, because one of you guys told me in the comments that the first season is actually book 1 and 2. So thank you, because now I know I have to read this book before I dive into the TV show. And also because I read Lockwood & Co. I think 2 months ago or so. So I don't want to wait too long to continue with the story because I might forget a lot of things. So it is time to dive into book 2. Plus, I had so much fun with the first book that I am eager to continue with the stories and the adventures. Basically, we live in a world in which people are aware that ghosts exist, and there are different types of ghosts. And they're training children basically to become agents and to fight against these ghosts because the young generations have a better connection with the world of the dead. So we follow one of those teenagers that has very good skills as she joins Lockwood & Co., which is one of the agencies that offers their services for getting rid of ghosts. And it's just so much fun. The characters were so well written, and it is spooky but like adventure packed, and it's just fantastic. Next, I decided to pick up one of those older horror paperbacks. So I picked up 666 by Jay Anson, who is the writer of the Amityville Horror. I've never heard about this one or read it, so I thought it would be great to dive into it and see what else the author from the Amityville Horror has in store. Apparently it follows a house that reappears every now and then, every X years reappears next to a city, hoping that somebody will rent it. And inside of the house we have obviously evil. So it is another kind of evil house story in a way. But I'm just really excited, and I need to start reading all of my older vintage paperbacks that I own. So I felt like this one was a good start. And then I decided that in order to finally get to some short horror story anthologies that I have, I always feel like it is too much to read them in 1 month. I feel like it's a little bit forced, so I would like to pick up 2 of my horror anthologies and just read one story every time that I feel like reading a short one, and finish them just by the end of the year. And I chose 2 very different ones. The first one is called Vampires Never Get Old, and these are short stories all about vampires, and these are YA. I've been a little bit craving more vampire stories lately, so I feel like this one might, you know, feed that craving that I have at the moment. And the other one is Served Cold, which is the second anthology that compiles short horror stories from horror booktubers. I really enjoyed the first one called Local Hunts, and the third one is also already out, so I need to catch up and read the second one. So I feel like these 2 are great because this is adult horror, this is YA vampires, so these are 2 different ones, and I can pick stories as I go throughout the year, so I can finish them latest by December. Alright guys, so that is everything that I will be trying to read, or at least start, like the horror anthologies, in the month of May. Let me know down below, what are you going to be picking up in the month of May? And if you want to read more YA thrillers, consider picking up Good Girls Die First by Catherine Foxville and join us in the YA book club, where there will be also a discussion at the end of the month and everything to talk about the book, so you still have time to pick it up. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!